I will preface it and say there's a lot of things currently that can't be said on the show. We've always been responsible with what we put out. Things are, and everyone's feeling it currently. I described it as the elastic band tension. It should have snapped a long time, well, certainly quite a few weeks ago. But it's stretching, and the rebound could well get brutal. For us all, that is. More for them than us, but everyone's feeling the tension, and it really needs some actions to be undertaken. Like I said earlier about Anthony Weiner, I can't believe it's taken 2 years to go further with what was on that computer. That's not good. It's beyond comprehension. And there's many other cases that require attention, and hopefully actions will be forthcoming. We've all heard the promises. We've been hearing from as far back as 2002 when David Wilcock was posting on the pseudonym Art Aqua on the Skolnick report of mass arrests. Well, here we are 16 years later, and we still await that process. But things are ongoing, and we will release things accordingly when it's safe to do so. But the first intel item is the Cabal, along with rogue organisations like the UN and the IMF, are targeting and heavily threatening whole swathes of African countries currently. They're threatening the central banks, they're threatening government officials and presidents or prime ministers of those countries. And this is an attempt to stop them in any way, shape or form working with the trust. Now, some are being offered huge bribes to block funding from the trust that has been coming in, and we have sent a number of transfers to various countries to help their countries. Now, the message to all the African countries: you must act now. Not separate, but all together. Combine together and turf out the rogue elements within your countries and block these criminals from threatening and abusing your own sovereignty. Throw out the UN people, throw out the IMF and their mercenaries, and Citibank out of all your countries. These people have never, ever done anything good for that whole continent or its people. They've raped, pillaged, vaccinated and killed your people for centuries. They've tested and implemented viruses that were administered by the World Health Organization. Yes, that World Health Organization. It is where all the diseases in your country originated from, deliberately. And it's time to put aside individual countries, clans and village wars, as whilst they deliberately provoke those situations to keep you all distracted, they plunder the country. These are the same people that provided all the guns and all the weapons. Well, it's time to get smart and get rid of those people and rebuild a new Africa where all your people can flourish and not die by the thousands each day. Now, here is the issue of banking in Africa, and the same applies to South and Central America also. All monies that are sent into both countries into individual banks, the banks are then being told that they have to be routed through another bank before it's transferred to its intended destination. So if the trust sends money to Africa, the receiver is telling the trust you must send it to Citibank first. Yeah, right. Not happening. As what happens next is they hold it, leverage it, or try to loot it, and it's time for Africa to remove that problem bank that is stopping your development. Now, in the case of South and Central America, they're having the same issue also of controlling banks, except theirs is not Citibank, it's Wells de Fargo. And the same applies to their countries as well. Time to throw those two organisations out altogether, nationalise another bank, or just nationalise that bank and take it over, and then the funds can be released. But we're not sending money to Citibank in Africa or Wells de Fargo in South and Central America for them to play games with.